Hey guys, welcome to my live. I'm going to be inviting a guest tonight, Dr. Kenny Harless, who is a chiropractor. We're going to talk all about metabolic health. Let's see, and I am about to bring him on. Well, hello, welcome. Hello. I am very green to these Facebook Lives, so it is a learning curve.
You and me both.
Well, hey, we can learn together.
Absolutely.
Now, I guess I don't know how you've done this before, but we got about 12 people on. If we want to just you kind of tell your story, and then if we want to invite your folks on and let them kind of give their story, and then we'll bring Tanya on if she's available. But I really just kind of wanted to give this time for us to just really teach people about metabolic health and show them that, you know what, there is a natural option. I want to see if I can invite people. Do you know how to invite people?
I think, Shannon, what you do is you hit the @ symbol and followers, I think, and maybe highlights.
Okay, I think so. Let's try that. And then you said at highlight?
Yeah. We're at, what is it, followers?
Okay, I did followers. Let's see. Let me try highlight. Okay. All right, maybe that will alert some people. All right, hey, we got 18 people on. Hey guys, thank y'all so much for joining. Dr. Kenny, do you want to introduce yourself? You would probably do a much better job than I will. And then we can. I'd love for you to tell your story. It gives me chills, and it really, I have to hold back the tears when I hear you speak.
Yeah. So, I mean, I practiced chiropractic for, almost 17 years, Shannon. And it was interesting. I mean, I was taught nutrition and things in school, that kind of stuff. Oh, Shannon, by the way, put your phone on D&D. You know how to do that?
I got it. Let's see.
Top right corner. And if you pull it down on your iPhone.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then I just remember to do that because we don't do that. It'll kill it. But yeah, so basically I was taking nutrition courses, things like that, very well versed in it. And what happened, I was doing an internship and found a tumor in one of my good friend's son's brain at 9 years old. And he was given 6 months to live. And we end up knowing just enough to help this young man 5 years in, right? And I'll never forget the morning that I heard that mother scream and cry, and I just never want to hear that again in my life. And right around that time, my father-in-law had come to me right about a month before, and he had pancreatic cancer. And I just remember asking God, like, what's going on? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there is something, I don't know what it is. I hadn't even started practice, you know what I mean? Yeah, and it was just crazy. And, and once you see and I kept searching, like the Bible says, whatsoever you ask for as you pray, believe you shall receive, right? You got to seek to find. And I kept searching, kept thinking it was inflammation. And then all of a sudden, this past year in April, I had all the signs of insulin resistance. My wife, we had tried for 7 years to get pregnant, couldn't get pregnant. She had PCOS. We had skin tags, right? You had, like, I was the yo-yo dieter, you know what I mean? Like, if I wasn't eating a certain way, I was gaining weight, that kind of stuff. And then it was, I ended up in the hospital, my appendix ruptured, and now I know exactly why. And I was 2 months in the hospital, in and out. My poor wife, I mean, they literally almost killed me twice by mistakes, literally, and it was just crazy. And I got out, and Anne-Marie reached out to me, and she's like, I've seen you do fasting stuff in the past. I think you might want to take a look at this. And I hopped on and I saw how many followers she had. Yeah. And I was like, wow, you're not going to have that kind of followers, right, Shannon, without providing some serious value to human beings, right? And so I hopped on a call. And then I started taking the protocol, which we'll share. And it was like the very first day. I mean, I understood. I started peeing like crazy. Yeah. So I knew I was dumping sugar out of my system, right? I was like, I called her like 2 hours later. I go, I'm all in. What do I got to do? And I promised God in the hospital that I was going to teach the world, but I didn't know what that was going to be. I still hadn't found this, to be honest with you. I just knew I was going to dedicate my life to that if I got out of that position, because I never wanted another person. I couldn't stand. I couldn't wipe my rear end. I mean, it was terrible. And
Very
so,
humbling, right? I mean,
yeah, you know, when the Bible says when you find the right woman, they're more valuable than rubies and gold, that is the freaking truth. And I started this thing, and Anne Marie's like, you got to make 2 videos a day. I didn't even know how to make a video. You
join the
know what I mean?
club. Join the club.
I was like, I'd push a red button, and then I would watch people do videos like you or whoever, and I would like see you guys having all these pictures, you know, embedded in it, and I'm like, how are they putting pictures throughout the freak? Because I was just pushing and talking because I can talk.
Well,
But
you haven't obviously scrolled to the bottom of my TikTok account to my very first videos. They'll pop up, and I'm like, oh my god, that's so scary. I hope no one ever sees that.
that is so funny. But you know, Shannon, this is something I want to share with you that I do every day. And I wake up and we'll share this protocol, you know, and I know this is a picture of a young lady, and she's in the obituary, which you can't even find
No.
obituaries anymore. And she died from something that we're going to talk about that's linked to 90% of all chronic illness and disease. And what's so interesting is that in medical schools, and you were a nutritionist, correct? I
Yeah.
mean, a dietitianist, excuse me. Okay.
Yeah.
You weren't taught this,
Oh,
right? You were taught eat 3 meals a day, 2 to 3 snacks a day. I used to tell people that. I used to tell people move more, eat less,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And
Whole
then I started
grains, lean proteins, you know, fat-free dairy, all of that.
e- e-
Lots of fruit.
everything that drops, like raises your blood sugar,
Yeah,
right? How do you become diabetic? I'm confused. Are you confused
yeah.
yet?
Follow my advice, and you're diabetic.
Absolutely, you know, and that's the system, right? And there's a quote by Plato, and he said, "Those that tell stories rule the world." Okay, and so what do we watch the black box on the wall? It's called a tell a what? Anybody that knows the answer to this, please type in the chat what that's
Yeah,
called, right? Tell a what? And then they tell you it's paid programming. Well, who's paying for the programming? Right? And it's funny because the cigarette companies used to aspirate sugar into tobacco
yeah,
leaves
yeah,
to get people addicted,
yeah.
right? Well, I thought they went away, but they went and bought all the food companies, and now they bioengineer the food to make you an addict. And you and I both follow Dr. Robert Lustig, and everybody on here
Oh,
should
yeah,
follow him, right? You know,
correct.
and
So
this
he's unbelievable.
incredible. This guy wrote this book,
Yeah,
and like I was listening to him in the number one fast food restaurant. I like to ask questions. So I always ask people, what's the number one fast food restaurant on the planet?
yeah,
And everybody always says, right? At least I said
right,
McDonald's.
right. Nope, I know the answer, but I'm not going to answer it.
Yeah. And it's our public food school
The
systems.
school system,
And
correct.
I'm like, what's the most important meal of your day? Come on, we all know the answer.
Yeah,
It's what? Break
yeah,
fast.
yeah.
Brought to us by Kellogg's to sell us cereal. The whole grain you talked about that's had the fiber removed that blows up your blood sugar.
Which was only created to, I mean, and when you look back at the history of Harvey Kellogg, it's like, are you serious?
Uh-huh.
For masturbation, to prevent masturbation is why you have cornflakes. I mean, how does that even like go together?
But you know, look that one up, right? I mean, that's a whole other rabbit hole, but you're 100% right. But this is why history repeats, because nobody reads it.
Correct.
And here's one thing too, Shan, I think it's really important. You know, I always talk about this, right? Like, you know, we're always told calories in and calories out. So if you move more and eat less, you're going to lose weight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I always ask people, I'm like, well, if I'm using 2,000 calories a day, but only taking 1,500 in, that's a 500 calorie deficit. I've never had somebody get that wrong, right? And if we do that for 1 week, 3,500 calories. Now, I know you know this because that's what you've been ingrained in your, you know, in indoctrination, right? And I was taught this too: calories, right? 9 calories for fat, 4 for protein, 4 for calories, which sounds like, oh, we don't want to eat fat. It's more
Right.
energy, right? Or is it? But then what's interesting is fat doesn't cause insulin spikes. So 1 pound of fat's what, 3,500 calories?
Yeah.
So if I weighed 200 pounds, if I did that for 200 weeks to reduce calories to lose body fat, would I weigh
Right.
zero in
Right.
200 weeks?
It doesn't make sense.
And then people are like, well, it's all calories. I'm like, well, okay, 140 calories of almonds and a Coca-Cola, and one makes you gain weight. It's not calories, right?
No, I
It's
mean you can
insulin,
look at a type 1 diabetic that can eat 20,000 calories a day and die of starvation.
right?
If it was about calories, that wouldn't matter.
Now, Shannon, why is that, right? So explain that to
Yeah.
them. Why is it, right, okay, that a diabetic that is type 1 can eat 20,000
Yeah.
calories and won't gain a pound? Please explain
Absolutely.
that.
So first off, I want to privy that it makes me upset that type 1 and type 2 are both called diabetes because they're opposites. They should not both be called diabetes. Type 1 is an autoimmune condition where it most of the time happens as a child, but we see it as adults now too. Okay. So your beta cells in your pancreas get attacked. They attack themselves. The body attacks them. They don't make insulin anymore. Insulin is a necessary hormone. We have to have it to live. It is a hormone of growth. It is a hormone of energy storage. So when a type 1 does not make that hormone anymore, they are not able to, their body is not able to take the energy that they eat and put it into the cell to be utilized. So it sits in their bloodstream.
So it's
If
really
it cannot,
it's a key, right?
it's a
Like, you know, I mean,
key.
it
It
opens the
opens
door.
the cell for that energy to go in there and for us to get energy and to live and to function. So if a type 1 doesn't have that key, it's just pulling up in the blood system, in the bloodstream, and it's never getting into the cell. And so you could die of starvation no matter how much energy or calories you ingest. That's why insulin's the key. And what we're going to talk about is when you control that hormone, you control whether you store it or you burn it. That's key.
Or multiply
Yeah.
it, right? The cells.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
We
So do you want, go
yeah.
ahead.
No, I'm saying, you know, it's interesting too, right? I always ask a lot of questions because we want people to think, right? Because once you've seen, Shannon, what you and I have seen, like you can't
No.
unsee it, right? So why is it that every time we go to a restaurant, they always start us off with chips or bread? Well,
Yeah.
this is the glycemic index, right? And if we
Yeah.
eat refined carbohydrates, which turn into sugar, your blood sugar spikes through the roof, right?
Right.
In 15 minutes. And then insulin's made and blows and it drives it back down. So you got to eat more.
You're hungry again.
Once you pop, you can't
Yeah. You
you
can't
can't have
stop.
just
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
And
There's
then
no coincidence,
no
right? You're not
coincidence,
crazy.
right?
You don't lack willpower. It's
No,
not that you're weak or
right.
undisciplined. It's
Absolutely.
created
Now,
that way.
now check this out, right? They told our generation not to eat fat. But yet look where fat is on this.
Yeah.
It doesn't even blip
Right.
insulin. It actually satiates you so you eat less.
Right. Go figure.
Huh. And then they start our kids off with Fruit Loops
Mhm.
and orange juice.
And you know
If
they
God,
can't sell. They can't even sell raw milk at schools anymore. It's skim
Mhm.
milk or
Right.
2%. They
Yep.
can't sell whole milk.
So now
The,
you've taken the fat out, right, which makes it even more disastrous to the insulin. And then you add chocolate to it, which is nothing but sugar.
right.
And so why is it now that non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is in our 3-year-old kids?
25%.
25%. And yet in 1980, the only people that had fatty alcoholic liver disease were alcoholics.
Right.
Well, that's because alcohol, right, and liquor and fructose both get broke down in the liver.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
Wow. And then now they're finding atherosclerosis in our kids
Yeah.
under 10
Yeah.
because of all the sugar and fructose.
Yep.
So, you know, this is
And
like,
ADD.
you know,
Why don't we see the boom in ADD, ADHD?
you know, I just
It's not that
got that.
we're testing better.
Shannon, I just got my video taken down on a different platform, but they reestablished it. And I did the link between ADHD because too much sugar in the brain of a child is ADHD,
Yeah.
but in an adult, it's called what?
Yeah.
Alzheimer's. And too much sugar in your pancreas is
Yeah.
diabetes, right? And I did a video and it started to take off and they took it down and said it violated community guidelines. And then I appealed it and said, well, where's the issue? And then they put it back up, but they killed the algorithm so people wouldn't see
Yeah.
it.
Of course. Because you hit on a bone right there. You know.
Well, you know, Shannon, this is my wife. This is part of my why. This was her 2 months apart.
Wow.
She struck, yeah, 2 months, and she could never fast. So she would always get like
Wow.
hypoglycemia every couple hours, right? And so I just said, well, hey, can you just sip this tea that we're going to talk about? Part of the protocol. And she's like, I can do that. And then it's like noon, it's one, right? You know, and all these things, right? She did a 56-hour fast. Like she could never
That's
do those kind of things, right?
insane.
I
Yeah.
know.
That's
She's
awesome.
down. She's down 12 pounds. I didn't even tell you. Like I'm down. I don't even know. Maybe 50 to 60 pounds. Like I wake up like I'm 20. This is since August 7th of this year.
Wow.
Have zero spinal pain. Neuropathy pain's gone. Energy's out the roof. I get up at 4 in the morning every day. Usually go to bed 9:30, 10. No more napping. No eye floaters. You know, skin tags. I've lost 50% of them. I had two. One's gone, one's hanging on. But I mean, it's crazy to me, these things, right? And but I wanted to, we have a couple of people too that whenever you're ready, we can
Yeah,
bring on, let them kind of share their
yeah,
stories. We can tie in the science and stuff for people too, because I really
absolutely.
want people to
Let's bring in,
see.
I don't see, let me see if, let me try to find Tanya.
Okay.
And if she's not here, we can bring in your folks
Well,
first.
Gary, like, let me see here, because Gary's on here and so's Crystal, but I don't think I can invite them. It's not
Okay, so
allowing me. It doesn't
let
look
me
like.
try to do
Yeah,
that.
it's Wellbaum, WELBAUM.
WELB. Oh, there we go.
Yep.
Invite. Okay, I just invited him. So, let me see if, oh, I have to do guest requests. So let me try that.
Sure.
Um,
He's partner right now.
he's on.
Shannon, while you're doing that too, I'll show some
Yeah,
more
go
stuff on.
for
So,
it while I figure out how to
so
do it.
this stuff, this is some of the things that we look at and deal with, ladies and gentlemen. So, like, this is me 35 days on the protocol. I lost some
Oh
weight too.
my God.
I
That's
think just from my
insanity.
hair. Yeah, that was 35 days. This is Dr. Marla, a friend of ours, right? She's down 22 pounds, reverse insulin resistance. This lady's A1C went from 14 to 5.9. And then this lady reversed type 2 PCOS, got off statins, off of her antidepressants, blood pressure, and cholesterol meds, and lost 120 pounds.
That's
So this
insanity.
is Gary.
Hey, Gary.
Gary, welcome, brother.
Hey guys, how are you today?
We're awesome. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
We love hearing stories of people whose lives have been changed forever, because that's what I always preach. That how many times have, if you're looking for a protocol like this ain't your first rodeo, right?
Right.
Most people have been there, done that, and this is last resort. You know what? I'm going to try it because nothing else has worked, and I'm sure this isn't going to work either. But guess what? I get my money back, so I'm going to try it. But I try to tell people, like, this is a marathon, not a sprint, and this is something. This is going to be your final rodeo.
Yep.
So I am so happy that you're here, and I can't wait to hear your
Shannon,
story.
wait till you hear his wife's story. So, like, it's
Oh, I
so
can't
fun. Yeah.
wait.
So,
Yeah, I'm look.
Yeah.
I always get excited to get on and share my story, but I always love just. I can't wait until she gets on. So, I'm Gary Wellbaum. Obviously, man, I have been through the ringer with different programs, different everything that you could imagine, and they all focused on weight loss, and that was it, right? So, oh, we can fix your weight. Well, I'm sure Dr. Kenny can explain it. It's the calories in, calories out that wasn't effective enough for us because all we're doing is messing with our metabolic rate. So the less calories that you take in, well, guess what? Your brain is going to change. It's going to say, hey, guess what, Gary, you're killing yourself. So all of a sudden it's going to
Yeah.
recalibrate, drop down your metabolic rate. And then all of a sudden now you're starving yourself. And that's what I've always felt like. And I was coaching calories in, calories out, but everybody that I talked to, they're like, oh, that's normal. That'll go away. That'll go away. A year later it didn't go away, and then I'm stuck eating my
Yeah.
habits again because I couldn't do it anymore. So my story and why Dr. Kenny reached out to me. Dr. Kenny has been a mentor of mine for 5.5+ years, one of the greatest men I've ever met. But long story short, my body was falling apart. I'm a business owner. I work, 24 hours, 36 hours, you name it. I mean, guys call off, you got to go out and you got to work. And it was to the point where my body was just falling apart. I've had hip surgery. I've had 2 knee surgeries. I've had a cut off calf that I had surgery on. And you can only imagine the amount of inflammation. On
and you're
top
only
of that,
37,
I was
right?
gonna
I'm
say you
sorry.
look really
Right.
yeah.
young.
Yeah.
So
I look a lot younger now than I did 4 months ago. So I'll actually show you guys some pictures here. But I was to the point where when I would lay down at night, even if it was only for 4 or 5 hours, I would literally wake up in the morning with tears in my eyes crying because I couldn't justify getting out of bed because of the amount of pain that I was in. And my wife would have to, I'd tap her on the shoulder and say, okay, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I got to run out. My phone just rang, and wake her up so that way she can help me just physically get out of bed because my back, nothing was working correctly. And then after about an hour or two, then it was like, okay, now I'm adapted back to the pain. So if anybody on here is having any types of pains within their body, I mean, this is it all leads to insulin resistance.
yeah.
If you are, and if you feel comfortable enough, put it in the chat. We'd love to talk about it. But let me show you real quick my before and 1 week photo. Okay. So this
Wow.
is me, right? So big gut, everything. And in 1 week, okay,
I mean, I was
I
going to ask
lost
how
my
far
gut.
along you were. Like Dr. Kenny was too. Y'all look like you got
I
maybe
looked pregnant.
twins. Yeah.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that just my son, he didn't know anything about it. I mean, he's 7 years old right now, but he used to walk up to me and go, "Fat belly, fat belly, fat belly." He didn't know it was hurting my feelings. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I didn't, you know, make him feel like he was hurting my feelings. But at the end of the day, it did. It crushed me. So I can show you this one. This is me in high school. This is my high school senior picture. Okay,
Wow.
that's me now. It's the same
You're
person.
half of that person. Half of that person.
It's the same person from high school. I'm 37 years old,
You
20
look,
what 20
you
years
look
out. So
incredible.
um
Yeah.
yeah, so all my body pains are gone. My TMJ is gone. I had tinnitus. It is, I would want to say, like 90% gone. Like we used to have to keep music or something playing in the background no matter where we were at. My wife loves to read. I couldn't have it like quiet, so I
Because
had
of the
to have something
inflammation
going.
in your eardrum.
Yeah, and I didn't know it. I'm like, oh, it's tinnitus. Everybody else is dealing with it. I guess it is what it is. The same thing with my father. He's got it, and it's like, man, if only we could just sip on a tea. You know what I mean? It's that simple, and drink a fiber, and it all reverses. So it was absolutely amazing. It's been what a blessing, and I can't wait for my wife to tell you guys her story.
Wow.
Thank you, brother.
Wow.
It's been
That's incredible.
really humbling watching you guys, man.
Well,
It's
I
been awesome.
appreciate it. I tell you what, like the emotional mindset at 37 years old, where I was mentally, I didn't know how to progress. Like how in your mind can you go, okay, at 37 I can barely move. What am I going to do at 47? What am I going to do at 57? Am I still going to be able to be the father that I need to be and the husband that I need to be? And I've said that before, and I'm going to say it again because that's what was going through my mind. And it was some crazy thoughts in my mind. And to be able to fix that.
So Gary, tell everybody a little bit about like when Dr. Kenny introduced this to you, like you just started drinking it.
Yeah, so Dr. Kenny reached out to me and I was like, Doc, I I love you, man. I was like, one, my wife's gonna kill me if I try to get into another program or anything else
Yeah.
because nothing's ever worked for us. He said, Gary, he goes, have I ever let you down? I said, no. And he goes, Gary, if I ever lied to you, what would you tell people? And I said, well, I'd tell them that you lied to me. He goes, have I ever lied to you? I said, no. He goes, have I always directed you in the right place, the right direction? And I said, yes. And so we jumped in. And within 1 week, my body pains were gone. Like I reversed my inflammation within 1 week.
That's it.
Absolutely amazing. I think it was like 3 to 4 weeks in that area. My migraines, like intense migraines, gone. Like I'm 40 pounds down, guys, and it's been 4 months. So
And you know what's really sad, Gary, and you speak to so many people, but people do not realize the power of food that is that it would cause back pain, that it would cause your ears to ring. We're never told that. We're told that requires a medication, that requires an anti-inflammatory. Oh, you shouldn't work so hard. The inflammation is related to something that you're doing, not what you're eating. We
Would that
never
wise
talk about that.
would that wise man say, "Let food be thy medicine,
Yeah,
and thy medicine
that's
be
it.
thy food"? Right,
That's
Socrates.
Hippocrates.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
The father of modern medicine,
yeah,
who I took my oath from to do no
yeah,
harm.
absolutely.
yeah.
Well, again, like I said, Doc, I mean, you saved my life. Like, I can't say it enough, man. I absolutely love you. I appreciate you. I mean, just like me being on here talking, there's other things that we could be doing throughout the day, but we're out here trying just to get into 1 or 2 ears, just to allow you guys to understand that there is a better way. There is a nutraceutical. We can do this and we can do it together, and that's why
Wow.
we're here for you.
Amen.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Gary.
All right, guys. Hey, you guys have a blessed night.
Thank
We
you.
got to invite Crystal now, or is she hopping on yours, or
Do you want to hop on mine?
Sure. Yeah.
there's
I'll move
And
out of the way.
and
make it
then we
easy.
have a question whenever you do you want to do the question now or you want Crystal to come on?
Oh, no, go ahead.
So Dr. Kenny, we have somebody that says, I don't know if you can see it. I was doing keto and started gaining weight, and now I have non-alcoholic fatty liver. I'm pre-diabetic at 60 years old, otherwise in good health. I need help because I'm caring for my elderly father who's sick with cancer and I can't get sick. please, thank you for any advice y'all can share.
Yeah, so man, God bless. Here's what happens, right? So, and Shannon, you've seen this too. People, when they're intermittent fasting, if they're not losing weight or if they're doing keto, when you do keto, right, if you do it properly, you sensitize
Yeah.
insulin big time, right? So, what does that mean? That means that what you finally do eat a carbohydrate, your body goes,
Yeah.
right? It sucks it all up. So when you break a fast, what you break it with
Matters.
really matters, right? And that's why we're going to share a protocol.
Yeah.
And the protocol, it is honest, I have fasted for 25 years, guys. It is the easiest thing I've ever seen. I'll be honest, I was skeptical. Like, you know what I mean? They were like, it's going to kill your food cravings. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But it honestly does. It stimulates GLP-1 naturally
Yeah.
by 60%. So that way you make smart choices, but it also has a natural acting metformin
Yeah.
and chlorogenic acid, right? So it
Yeah.
keeps the blood sugar and insulin low.
Yeah.
And what happens when you keep, and Shannon will show this, when you keep that blood sugar and insulin low, guys, the fat's got to go. Okay. And that means fatty liver,
Yeah.
it means visceral fat. It means subcutaneous fat, which is the stuff that protects you, right? There's 3 fat depots, and that's a whole other conversation. But these things are clinically proven to be as effective as diabetic meds, weight loss meds. That includes injections like
Yeah.
Ozempic, Wegovy. It also includes blood pressure and cholesterol meds.
So,
Okay.
and I'm glad you brought that up because we've had a couple people chime in that they're on metformin, and you mentioned metformin. Guys, after Crystal tells her story, we're going to go through
Yep.
this exactly. But before I
Absolutely.
forget, metformin, you can look it up in something called the PDR.net. That is the Bible to medications. Metformin lowers glucose 20 to 30%. That is not me making, that is what it does. That is in the literature. This product right here, these products lower glucose 34 to 37%. They lower glucose
More
more than the
with
number
zero
one
side effects.
prescribed diabetic drug in the world.
Mhm.
So
And
we're
you
going to
forgot to say that there's zero side effects, right?
zero, no side effects.
Now go to PDR.net and look up your metformin and look up the side
Or
effects.
Ozempic and look up the side effects. There was a new one out. So Dr. Bickman just highlighted a study today for men on Ozempic. 2% increase in low testosterone and a 5 times greater risk of erectile dysfunction.
Yeah. Because you're altering
Yep.
insulin, right? And cholesterol. And
Yep.
cholesterol is the substrate that makes your hormones like insulin, which is why 50% of women who are or menopausal, they get put on a cholesterol lowering drug, which they're very effective at doing that, right? But they become diabetic 50% of the time. And then you have an 80% chance of heart disease and 81% chance of becoming an Alzheimer
Yeah.
patient.
It's ridiculous.
So, this is why we do what we do, right? So, I'm sorry, Shannon,
Let's let
Crystal, welcome. I got to
Crystal.
kind of
Hi.
Shannon, I got to preface this real quick.
Yeah.
So when I called Gary, it was one of my patients once said to me, they said, Dr. Kinney, you might be the head of your household, but the wife's the neck and the neck turns the head, right? So when I called Crystal, I mean, I could literally feel I'm gonna freaking kill him. You know what I mean? Like this is what I was getting from her, and so and it was like, oh my God, here he comes again. He's gonna freaking share this with my husband, and my husband's gonna want to do it, and da 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 da. So it was very funny, but I had to share that. But I think it's turned out okay, Crystal.
I would say so. So when he reached out, I was at a point where I had looked into surgeries. I had tried so many different diet plans, and no matter what I did, I was gaining weight. I was cutting out my calories, I was exercising, and I just kept gaining more weight. I had given up and I didn't want to hear about anything else. I just decided nothing else was going to work, and life is just, it is what it is. And well, I watched my husband do this for a week, and I was like, okay, give me the tea. um, and since then, I no longer have daily headaches. My sinus infections that I used to get weekly are down to once a month, and they're no longer debilitating, which is huge because the pain would be right behind my eyes. I would put a mask on my face. I didn't want anybody talking to me. I didn't want to function to take my kid to school, and that was disheartening in itself. Having the energy to play with my kid is huge as well, because for a long time it was, well, dad will come play with me because mom's tired, or mom can't run. Well, now mom's losing weight, so it doesn't hurt my knee, doesn't hurt my ankles, my sciatic pain is gone, my TMJ is gone. I've had so many improvements that I wish I would have known about this years ago, because the way I felt before was, I don't even know how to put that feeling into words. To feel how I'm feeling now is, it's undescribable, the difference that one simple change made. I was already eating the way I needed to eat, but my body was so resistant that it didn't seem to make a difference, and adding this protocol has made all of the difference.
Not to
See,
mention the
that's key.
antibiotics that you're not going to have to take, right?
So that's key, though. What she just said, which is what I hear all the time, is I was already eating that way, I was already moving that way, but I just kept gaining.
Yeah.
And that is because when you're insulin resistant, how do you know this? Do you have eye floaters? Do you have belly fat? Right? Are you hungry after you eat? Do your joints hurt? Okay, do you have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, PCOS, erectile dysfunction? These are all signs of this stuff. And so I don't care how clean you eat, if your insulin's not working, it's staying high and it's telling your body to store fat, which throws off all your hormones. And I mean, Crystal, you don't even look like the same person. Like we have a, we
I
have
was
a
going to
saying
say,
where
y'all
you,
have a picture?
yeah, I mean, like your face looks
Gary's got a
completely
picture. Hold
different.
on.
She and I remember too, Crystal, you were talking about how you couldn't wear jeans. And I know before I started this, my waistline was probably a 38, right? But I was wearing 36 with the stretchy, you know what I mean? Because it made me feel good, right? You know, and then like now I'm
You're
a
like,
30,
I'm not
right?
going
Yes.
up anymore.
And now I'm a 30, right? And I'm 47
That's
and I'm
crazy.
older, right? And I've got more muscle and it's comical. And I gain
You
muscle
age
even though I'm
backwards.
losing. Yes, you
You
do.
age.
Hmm.
So while she's looking for that, I want to
My
point
hair
out one
doesn't
more
turn
thing.
blonder though. That's the problem, Shannon.
Hey, there's something called highlight, Dr. Kenny. We can talk about that after this.
Uh, I just
I
need
just
more
want to say one more
ammunition for
thing
my
while
wife to
she's
make
looking.
fun of me. I'm sorry, Gary.
Oh, you're good. I just want to say one more thing. So before we found this protocol, we were going to the chiropractor. We were on a subscription with the chiropractor. Now, don't get me wrong, my chiropractor is absolutely amazing, but we were going once a week just to stay to get to that next week. On top of that, we were having somebody come in every 2 weeks to give us massages just to get to that next. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
so I could go out and work. We were spending over $1,200 a month just to feel good enough
But
to
you
go to
weren't
work. Like,
feeling good. That's the key. Is it was not doing. It was. I call this. I have spent my 18-year career as a dietitian teaching people how to exist. Now I'm teaching people how to thrive. That the existing is not enough, Gary.
What
This
you
was
got,
me on
Chris?
the day we started.
Holy smoke.
Wow.
Unbelievable. And I bet the most beautiful thing about this is you never had to starve yourself. You never have to grit through it and feel hungry, right?
No, my plate is full, and I am a happy person because I don't have to limit my food.
That's the other thing, right? And Dana, somebody was asking, 3 meals.
Yeah.
Actually, Dana, we're going to explain the protocol. And what we do is we drink a tea in the morning, and you actually eat your love handles for
Yeah.
breakfast.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So do you want to, should we talk about the protocol or Crystal, do you?
yeah, Crystal, you want to
This
share
is
it?
what I was looking for. It's my most updated pictures.
You look incredible. You look incredible. I mean,
Yeah,
you
Crystal, you want to share the
look so much
protocol?
young. You actually look like your daughter. Like that was like you look like the daughter of the person on the previous picture.
I feel like a daughter again. I don't feel old and cranky because I definitely was not pleasant to be around.
Yeah, our first conversation when I introduced this compared to now is a little different.
a little less ornery.
You better honor that money back guarantee, Dr.
Right.
Kenny. That's all I
But,
got to say.
but that is the thing, right? I mean, like you'll notice this is how people change. This is why we do this, right? So, if you put enough people, I remember a video of a little girl, and she comes home from school, Shannon, and the little girl, like the dad is exhausted, right? We've all been there. He just sits down in his chair, he's exhausted, and he's just wants 10 minutes to decompress. And the little girl runs up and she's got a bucket of popcorn and spills it right in his lap. And he's like, oh, he's trying not to blow up on his kid. And he goes, here, and he takes a picture of the world, right? And he tears it up and he says, go upstairs, put this back together. And when you get it all put together and tape back, come back downstairs. Well, he thinks he's got hours, maybe a day. It's like 5 minutes and she comes back downstairs. And he's like, what the, like, how'd you do it? She was, Daddy, I didn't know anything about putting the world together. But there was a picture of a man on the other side. And I knew when I put the man together, it put the world back together. And when you put someone's world back together, they become a better mother. They become a better father, right? They take less drugs. They do better things, right? Or they're better with the drugs that they have to take. And if you put more people in the community like that, that community becomes a better, safer place to be, not only for us, but for our children. And you start to change the fabric that's woven into the system. We are so conditioned that people know the answer to the questions I'm going to ask right now. Because what is the cabinet that is linked above your bathroom sink? What's that cabinet called? It's called a medicine cabinet. And everybody knows that. And the more medicine that you have in it, are you sick or well? You see, the drugs never talk about fixing the problem. There's always side effects and symptoms. And as you said earlier, Shannon, why the hell are you here to exist? God didn't put you here to exist. He put you here to live to your full potential. And that's what this system allows people to do, right? Is to get back to their full potential. So, Krista, would you share this protocol with people so they can understand this to see if it's a fit and we can fill in blanks and explain some of the science to people?
So it is the simplest protocol I have ever heard of or seen or tried. I literally wake up in the morning, I grab a bottle, I put my tea in it, I drink that until about noon. And then if I'm hungry, I'll eat my lunch. If I'm not hungry, I'll keep going till dinner and I'll make a second tea. With my dinner, I drink my fiber, but I drink my fiber with my food instead of guzzling it beforehand. Because that will give you 40% back on your insulin.
It's like going to the grocery store and spending $100 and you get $40 back. It's a beautiful thing.
Right.
I love it. Yeah.
That's the protocol.
That easy, guys. This is it.
Shannon, can you put those in your purse or in your pocket?
Oh
and
my
carry them
God.
with
I
you?
just went to Asia for 2 weeks. They travel great through the airport. They go through TSA with no problem.
Yep.
They are in my purse. They are in my desk. They are in my backpack. They are in the console of my car. So I don't, and they're in my gym bag. I don't go anywhere without them. And truly, it's that simple. And look, Dr. Kenny just held up his bottle. I like mine in 40 ounces. You can do it however you choose. I'm a bad water drinker. As a dietitian, I should be the best example of somebody that drinks half of their body weight in water. I don't do it, okay? But if I drink my tea in 40 ounces, guess what? I know for a fact I'm going to get in 80 ounces of water. So I do that. You can add lemon to it. You can add fresh mint leaves to it and muddle it in there. And then before my biggest meal, I mix up my fiber. I like the way it tastes. So you know what? I drink the whole bottle.
Yep.
But some people, my mom's like, the consistency is a little odd because it thickens. Mm-hmm. So I tell people, just put enough to dissolve it, shake it up, and chug it down. You know, so
just get it in you, right?
You can work the system however it works best for you. Truly, if that's where you need to start there, and we can talk about changing your food once you kind of get this down pat. But it's simple. I tell people, I'm like, you know what? You see these infomercials of women with the beautiful skin, and they're selling a skincare system. And you know, I watch it and I'm like, I really
health comes from inside, not outside.
It does. But so that's number one. But number two, there's 10 steps to this system. I don't care how good it works. There's no way that I'm going to do 10 steps in the morning and 10 steps at night. I'm doing good to wash my face and now slather on my tallow. If I can get that done, then I'm doing great. But I'm not going to do 10 steps. So there's that. Number two.
You mean it's not feasible to take a pill like 37.2 seconds before you eat, or 10 minutes this way, or oh my God,
You
yeah.
know,
I feel
so
you.
you can't mess up. You drink. You just drink it. And it's got to taste good, guys.
Yep.
I don't care how excellent. I remember when the wheatgrass craze was going on,
Oh,
and I remember I like to have thrown up in my mouth, and it was all I could do to, like, I just knew, I'm like, okay, I can do this because it's good for me. I'm gonna do it. And I made it like 3 days, and I'm like, I can't do this. I can't. Like, I know that this is not sustainable for the rest of my life.
well,
This
Shannon,
tastes so good
they're
that kids will
yeah,
do it.
yeah, their son Hunter's like 7. He loves it.
Yeah,
My daughter's 12.
yeah,
She loves it. Her standard tests have improved focus, mental clarity, right? Like it's safe for
yeah,
children. You can do this with any medical condition, guys. You can do it with any
yeah,
medication. These are plants with zero side effects. And you forgot to tell them it's got a 90-day money back
yeah,
guarantee. It's not their cup of tea, right?
guys,
So
yeah,
and the other thing that was funny to me, I was doing a live, Shannon, a few months ago, and a lady's been on this protocol for 2 years, right? And I've only been doing it since like middle August, right? Early August, whatever. And she goes, I'm saving $6,000 a year because she's not eating fruit poopa
yeah.
lattes at breakfast at Starbucks and $10 drinks and no more. So all of these things get eliminated. And people put that money back in their pocket. We were on a call the other day. This guy's name's Michael. He's down 94 pounds, I think, in 6 months. He was medically retired. There's a graph. I have the graph. And he literally, he was getting, medical
Yeah,
disability at the same, and it was this level. As soon as he started the protocol, his income like went double. And then he was taking 25 medications. He's down to 4.
that's it.
So no
Wow.
more copays. And then he had 8 blood pressure meds. He's down to
So
1.
Yvette, my best friend, her 76-year-old mom, who's type 2 diabetic, has 9 stents, a pacemaker, was on so many medications, got on this system at 76 years old. She's lost 40 pounds.
Mhm.
She can run circles around all of us. Let me just tell you that. She's off every one of her medicines. She's no longer diabetic. You know how much money she saves
Oh,
in copays?
oh.
$1,000 in copays by just taking a pack of tea and a pack of fiber.
It's almost hilarious, right? I mean, okay, you're gonna drink. Like, people don't care about what all this. Like, they just want what you have, right? People
Yeah,
don't buy a quarter-inch drill because they want a quarter-inch drill. They want quarter-inch holes. So when you tell them, yeah, you're gonna drink, they don't get like you're gonna. You mean you shrink like you're drinking 2 teas and a fiber? Okay, whatever. Just like what is it? You know what I mean? Like you said, like it's so it freaking work. My dad was a Diet Coke addict. He's dealing with prostate, had his prostate cancer, had it removed. His PSA is now within normal ranges. He's had 1 Diet Coke in 3 months. My mother has renal cell, okay, and her kidney function is improved, and she's dropped 2 pant sizes. It's almost 78. And it's her energy, and especially with me, she and I was in the freaking hospital. She's dealing with a lot of other things with my father, somebody else very close to her. The stress that
oh
she's
yeah,
been under, and this stuff impacts cortisol, right? By
oh yeah.
reducing inflammation, right? And then the T's affect, create dopamine, which trumps epinephrine. I mean, it is so crazy what this system does.
Oh yeah,
And it's
Sherry
so
on
simple.
here, who's been on it for maybe Sherry. I don't remember how long. She's already down 100 pounds.
That's
I
wild.
mean, it's
Awesome.
And
and
no loose skin either. That's you know what I
no,
mean. They don't have to go in for surgery when you intermittent fast. That's something we didn't even touch on that, Shannon. Right? So when
autophagy.
people, yeah. So like when people fast for 24 hours, ladies and gentlemen, your gut creates new stem cells. Right? The $1,000 injections. It creates their own stem cells and fix the intestinal lining, which is why leaky gut starts to get healed, which leads to all the autoimmune diseases going backwards. Right? So now we
Yeah,
see people that have lupus and all these crazy things. And it's not that your body heals
yeah.
itself. And if you go 3 days fasted, I think his name was Victor Wilkston, he was taking chemotherapy patients who had blown their immune system out
Oh
of,
yeah.
out of the water, right? In 3 days, they created new stem cells and regenerated new immune systems. Why aren't we talking about this?
So one of my partners, Philip, who has prostate cancer, he's refusing the surgery because it will it's just
Yeah,
not good. He doesn't want to
lead to impotence and everything else. Yeah, absolutely
and
right. Yeah.
so his, PSA is been going down. He's lost, I think, 60 pounds. He has a customer whose melanoma is gone, like gone. Christy on here, a pharmacist that is on my team, her rosacea was gone, I think, within a week. Like, it was unbelievable. So it's when you heal your body, and insulin is, so guys, to point out all these things that we're talking about,
Well,
the
here,
cancer,
yeah, keep talking, Shannon.
yeah.
I'll find that.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So so insulin is a growth hormone. It's like miracle grow to cancer.
Right here, right?
So cancer cells have lots of insulin receptors on there, and they feed on sugar. And then when you sprinkle a little bit of insulin on there, they grow like crazy. So if you can get insulin down, then those cancer cells don't have food. They don't. They will.
The sugar won't get in the cell.
Correct.
Because when you make ketones, right? Like when your insulin is low, your body has to make another fuel. So it makes ketones.
Yeah.
And ketones do not need insulin to enter the cell for mitochondria to make energy.
Correct. That's why
So,
Alzheimer's is called type 3 diabetes. Yes. So, yeah.
That is the tree root right there. And as the Bible says, no good tree bear bad fruit.
Yeah.
All of those circles around it, that's the fruit. Those are all caused by insulin. And isn't it funny, Shane, how they call it metabolic syndrome? Now, that's like, I don't know exactly where you live. I think you're in Alabama,
I'm in
right,
Atlanta.
Shannon? Oh, God, I'm sorry. Okay, so let's say that I drop you off at Vets, but you don't know it, and I blindfold you, and you're in Huntsville.
Yep.
And you want to come down to Disney World, but you think you're in Atlanta. Well, that's metabolic syndrome. So I don't know what it's linked to. If you don't know where you start, how do you fix it? So how do we keep insulin low? Well, you don't let it go up. Well, what do you eat that makes it go up? Sugar, refined carbs, all the things they tell you to eat. Juice. If God wanted juice, it'd be hanging on the freaking tree of juice. It would be smoothied, right? If you're going to eat fruit, do fruit, eat fruit. Mm-hmm. Eat it last, right, in your meal. Mm-hmm. Start with fiber, correct. Start with proteins and fats, and then you eat carbs if you eat those, and eat those correct. Last, and eat stuff without a box, because when your shelf life goes up, your life goes down. Oh, that's and they've known this for 100 plus years. Yeah. Like, there's some simple thing, but I run this all the time. People are like, well, Dr. Kinney, like, what do I eat? I'm like, you eat things God made. Food. Things in the ground. You eat food. They think food is in a box. They're so programmed. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Where's the beef? Winston tastes good. Like, we are so indoctrinated, we don't even know what we don't know. Right. And that's why we do these calls. That's why we do science calls every Tuesday night, so that people can come at 9 o'clock and learn from people like yourself, Shannon, all these other healthcare professionals that have seen, right, and that are sick of watching people suffer and struggle and get sick, and watching kids so morbidly obese with chronic diseases, adult diseases that never existed, no. 30 and 40 years ago. It's not our genetics that have changed. If it's genes, 23 from mom, 23 from dad, why does it take 50 years to get freaking diabetes, 70 years to get heart disease? If it's the gene, you'd have the expression from the get-go. It's a freaking lie. Right. Because if it's your gene,
we inherit
you
our behaviors from our families, right?
Absolutely, right.
And so we have a couple questions. How bad is it to drink light drinks with aspartame? So again, I think we have to, in a perfect world, guys, we wouldn't drink any chemicals. We'd only eat organic. We'd have, we'd be out in the sun and get vitamin D. We wouldn't have chemicals in our detergents, but you've got to pick your battles. And if it means that you drink that over a sugar beverage, then I'm going to say drink that. I would advise to try to do as natural as possible. So stevia, allulose are better sweeteners. They're natural. Okay. So, but you've got to pick your battle. And if it means that you start there, then start there and work your way towards the natural. Somebody else said, what if you take
Shannon, real quick, be careful with that too, right? Because anything that is sweet, like aspartame to the tongue, it's so sweet, right? Or fructose.
It can spike that urge to
it'll spike too, because the brain goes, oh, this is super sweet. Correct. So then it makes the pancreas make double the insulin when you do eat.
Correct.
Okay, so be careful.
Yep. And then somebody said if you take medicine, and your stomach burns when you don't eat. So I would ask my doctor if I could take my medicine with my first meal, right? Usually they just say take with breakfast because people eat breakfast, but most of the time you can take it with your lunch. If not, you can always mix up a pack of this balance. It will not break your fast. You can take your pills with this. That'll coat your stomach. But you know, we often confuse acid reflux and GERD with too much acid.
It's too little.
Not enough acid. It's too little. And so that's where we got it wrong. And if we cut out the processed foods, the ultra processed foods, all of the sugar, you might have a few days where you have reflux. That will go away. That will go away.
Shane, I was just listening to Dr. Robert Lustig. Sorry,
Yeah.
what you just said sparked this, honey. So he said he was talking about emulsifiers,
Yeah.
right, in processed food, which is a detergent, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which eats out your mucin layer in your intestines, right? Which is where reflux and all these things go. Like it's like, so as soon as you quit eating the box food, guys, like there's a Pottinger, I don't know if you ever heard of this, but he was a medical doctor, loved cats, Shannon, and he fed them 3 different groups of food, right? Raw meat, raw milk, and then he fed them out of a box. And in 3 generations, the ones that ate raw meat, milk, totally fine, could reproduce, but the ones that ate out of the box, only 1/3 could reproduce. Does this sound like America today?
Yeah. Why do you think IVF clinics are booming, you know? So somebody just said, can type 1 diabetics? Absolutely. Type 1 diabetics, you don't want to become a type 2. The more insulin as a type 1 you use, the more insulin resistant your cells become. And you'll go up and up and up and up. And so you can have type 1 and type 2 at the same time. And so there are many, many type 1 diabetics on here that have significantly gone down on the amount of insulin. And if you eat a low carb ketogenic diet as a type 1, you will have very little need for insulin.
Well, in this too, right, Shannon, the tea will keep your blood sugar level low because of the chlorogenic acid. So if you keep the blood sugar level low, you're going to need less insulin, ladies and gentlemen, right? And that's what the name of the game is, right? Insulin low, the fat's got to go. You stay healthy, you keep your hormones balanced.
Right.
So.
And it resensitizes your cells to insulin.
Absolutely.
So
I'd like to retouch on the fasting part of our protocol, because it sounds like there's a couple people on here that haven't fasted before, just like myself. I never fasted
go for
before.
It. Yeah, love for you.
Start small. Okay, like if you can just wake up in the morning and start sipping on the tea, get the product in your system, because that's what's going to help you. Okay, it's like if you broke your foot and you went to the doctor, they're going to give you a pair of crutches, right? And if you don't use those crutches, is your foot going to heal? Probably not, right?
But it'll heal wrong, right?
Right. So utilize this as your crutch at the beginning. It's going to cut out the food noise and everything, okay? If you can only make it 2 extra hours in the morning, just get those 2 extra hours, and I promise you, day to day, it's going to get easier. So the people that are asking about the 3-day fast and everything else, don't worry about that yet. Okay?
Well, sorry, Gary. And another thing is women, right? Your cycles.
Correct.
Right.
Thank you. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, I mean, so as a woman, I always teach this because God bless you.
Eat
Most
like
women, fast like a girl. But my wife was trying to go, you know what I mean? And I said, honey, if you're in estrogen, day 1 to 12, estrogen's high. I'm like, so you can eat low carb and you can go really long days without fasting. You're very energetic. You're very extroverted and talkative. This is when you want to approach your spouse or significant other with conflicts, because they have the hormones aligned to do it. Day 12 to 15 is when we men get lucky because your testosterone's high, ladies. So we're like, awesome. You guys want to ovulate and you want to, you want to have sex, right? So that's how men feel every 15 minutes. Then 15 to 30, right? This is when progesterone's high and you want to shorten the fasting window. You want to eat more carbohydrates, but things that are like root vegetables. This is when you crave fiber, fiber, right? This is how you know this, because you want to binge watch stuff, right? Don't approach her at this point with conflict because the hormones are not lined up. They can't find their words, and you're going to cause. So this is saving relationships, just knowing this kind of stuff. Right?
And I'm glad that you brought that up, because y'all, it's and here's your favorite doctor, Dr. Lustig. It's not the length. Dr. Bickman says this too. Ben Bickman. Why We Get Sick is a fantastic book, but y'all, it's not about the length of your fast. It's about how you break your fast. Because if you're trying to go for a long fast and you're not metabolically flexible, it's not going to be fun. It's going to be really hard and really really stressful on your body. Okay.
Yep.
Fasting is a stress. We're trying to mitigate stress. And in the beginning, when your body is in extra high cortisol and stress modes, going for a 3-day fast is not going to do yourself any good. So start with 12 hours, slowly work your way up, like Gary said. And it's the important thing is how you break it. You break it with fiber, protein, and fat. Okay.
Shannon, we
That
got
is
about 2 minutes.
correct.
We got okay.
Yeah,
Anybody
I
have
would,
any more questions before we hop off? And this is going to be recorded on our Facebook page for 30 days, I believe it is.
No, you can change that to forever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we click that and you can go up and change it to never delete.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, look, I so much appreciate all of y'all coming on. I'm sort of new to the whole Facebook Live, but I really like it. We've had some really good questions in here, and it's amazing to hear people's stories. And I'm sure your life is forever changed, and you're going to change so many people's lives just by telling your story.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you guys letting us on. It was very nice seeing you.
Oh, it was so nice to meet you. Dr. Kenny, you have anything you want to say?
No. Oh no, it's guys, it's 90-day money back guarantee. You got nothing to lose. You know what I mean? If it's, if you know Shannon, get back to Shannon. If you know Gary,
Yeah.
Crystal, get back to them.
Whoever invited you, get with them.
Yep.
And we work together as a community here.
Yep.
So you get support. It's not just a product.
Nope. No, if you
Here
don't
to answer
understand
any
better,
questions.
you can't do it, right?
No.
People always get mad at me when I do lives because they're like, give us the pro. I'm like, if you don't understand what you're doing, you'll never continue it. And what's important to me is not selling you something. It's having you understand something. When you understand something, it will change the fabric of your life. It would, if we don't fix it, our kids inherit it. And look at what we're providing our kids right now. That's what the Bible says. It says, if you love your child, give them the rod, teach them the way, right? If you don't, let them be. If we don't understand this, we're passing our own ignorance onto them.
Correct.
And I'm sick of seeing kids obese, diabetic. I mean, this is ridiculous.
I mean,
So
we
get
want
with
to
somebody,
save your life. We're
Absolutely.
trying to save your life. Guys, whoever invited you, Steve, if you're on my page, I think I recognize your name. Just send me a DM and I will send you the link. Anybody else? Mike in Finland, amazing. Thank you for joining.
Yep.
Well, I appreciate all of y'all, and we'll do this again.
Awesome. Have a blessed night. Thank you.
Yeah, take care.